This session brought to you by Odyssey Games for pre-orders and sealed product, CCG Prime for tons of singles and supplies, Cardo Doko for international rulers looking for product, and fowlibrary.com for articles and wonderful deck lists. It's also brought to you by our guest lecturer patrons, Vite Ramen. Class is in session. Hey there, rulers! Welcome back after a long week of Force of Will to your favorite ever live Force of Will podcast. It's Office Hours featuring me, DMO73, and I am joined, as always, by my Grants.
Paul's voice comes from his mama.
Paul Reisman.
My voice comes from my mama.
And returning back to us after a long hiatus, we have Lance Maverick. Lance, good to
Hey,
have you back.
I can move now.
You can move now.
Oh my god.
Oh,
Yeah.
man,
Look at that.
Technology
It's
is
Sigmund art
amazing.
that moves.
look at that
This
movement.
also comes from your mom.
Yes, yes.
His motion comes from his mama.
Mhm.
We are here to talk about Force of Will, and we're so glad to have you join us. If you like what we're doing, if we make you laugh, make you smile, and you want to support us, go ahead and consider clicking that subscribe button down below if you haven't already, or that join button to join the channel as a member. Gets you access to all kinds of cool emotes, like the ones Rustin has already spammed in our chat, as well as helps us to do
Cheeky's in the
new...
chat for Lance being here.
Yeah, as long as all kinds of other cool projects or help us to buy new equipment so we can continue to improve the content here. But regardless, we're glad you're here either way because, you know, it's Force of Will, so let's talk about it. Hey guys, did you know that there's a GP this weekend?
Never
What?
heard of her.
Yeah, there's a GP this weekend.
Damn, I made plans.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
Is it at Disney?
It is not at Disney.
No, there's a collectibles convention locally.
That'll be fun. That'll be fun. Yeah. So
I'm,
there's...
hoping, I'm legitimately hoping to snag like old Force of Will bulk boxes there.
Get those CFC boxes. Let's go.
Yeah, give me those.
Yo,
give me those.
get those
Give me.
Get those NPRs.
Yes,
Ooh.
exactly. That Mike knows exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah, I'm hooking for
I got
Moon
you,
Priestess
I got
Returns
you.
boxes.
I got you.
Gotta get those booty kits.
Exactly.
So we are here.
Or full art stones.
Or full art stones. MOA had full art stones too, by the way. So just keep
MOA
that in
didn't have
mind.
anything, Jeremy. Don't lie to us.
MOA had full art stones. I pulled a
It
text list.
does.
I pulled a text list dark depths in my unboxing for the channel like 6 years ago. Like
Ooh, man.
I know.
Remember
That was-
Millennia of the Ages?
Remember when I
That's
opened that
wild.
box at my kitchen in the house that I lived in 2 houses before this? That was a fun
Remember
time.
6 years ago? Force of Will was no different than it is now.
Yeah, same game. Same game.
Same
I mean-
game, yeah.
Dark Depths is still legal. It's fine.
Sure
Nothing
is.
has changed.
True.
Never stopped. Never stopped being legal. In some
Preston
format.
requested off when it was an online
That's actually
one.
not
Oh,
true.
boy.
It wasn't legal during New Valhalla.
Shush. It was legal in Wanderer, which is the format we're playing right now.
Sure was, man.
So yeah, we got a GP this weekend. It's looking to be pretty exciting. We have Caseyville, Illinois. We've got word of quite a few people coming from all over, which is going to be great. Caseyville is usually one of the most attended. Like Caseyville, Minnesota, and Minnesota are usually like still the most attended in-person GPs, and this is certainly our first time like fully back comfortably post-COVID to Caseyville. The past 2 times we've been at Caseyville have been mask up, like everybody's still being really careful. This is probably the most
I don't
lots
think. I'm trying to remember. Did we have to wear masks last Caseyville?
I think
think we did.
Caseyville wasn't like as strict about it, but it was still like,
Yeah.
hey, keep the spaces were still very much more spread out, significantly
Yeah.
more so than they were at Minnesota. This is I imagine we'll see a lot more of the like close knit tables than we have in the past.
Hopefully, it's because it's packed out.
Hey-o. I actually
Hey.
really like that venue. It's a nice place to go play. It's pretty spacious, so that's going to be good. But
Mhm.
that brings us to kind of what we're talking about. We don't really have a lot of news. It's been kind of like this dry season right before a GP. The big news was 2 weeks ago when we were talking about like the new ban list and EG coming back and all the new product announcements.
Easy back.
Spoilers haven't
Back.
started yet.
Oh yeah.
And we've already had one GP. We know that before next set there is GP Vienna, this GP, and I think there's one other one happening internationally before next set, so we'll have 4. Paul had the wonderful tournament report of this past week. Hopefully you checked that out to kind of look at the Mataberg results. So we're just kind of like talking about cards. We don't really have anything super huge to talk about. And so we opened it up to some mailbag stuff. And the biggest kind of question we got going into it was not how pretty is Mike Rance, because we've talked about that before. And we know
Mike Rance is so beautiful. It's, we don't even it doesn't even need to be discussed. We can just move right past it.
Yeah, we all know. It's fine. You all really just come here to watch Mike Rance. It's okay. I've accepted it. I've accepted it. I'm moving on.
I don't know. Jeremy literally owns the channel and does everything for it. I just show up here and I show my face, and you're like, "All right, cool. I guess I'll tune in."
Riding the coattails, Mike. I'm just riding your.
Mike
coattails.
hasn't really done an AMA recently, so I don't know what he's been up to.
It's true.
Maybe it's time to hit up Forceful Global.
No, listen. This stream, because it's a mailbag, is also an open invitation for Mike Rance AMA.
Mike Rance AMA.
Where's the wine?
I got beer.
He's got beer.
Close it up. All right, cool. Mike, you've heard it here. Mike Rance is drunk.
Undescript drink that won't get Jeremy demonetized.
We're 5 minutes in. We're okay.
Okay, this is fucking beer, dude.
Ruler School firmly endorses only legal drinking. So if you are under the age, do not consume.
And even if you are over the age, drink responsibly.
Yeah.
Lance
and
has
if
got
you're
me
old as
covered.
shit like me, drink.
So
you deserved it.
The biggest question we got going into it was what older rulers do we think that we would be interested in exploring, both casually and competitively, that we think could make a scene? This past event at GP Magdeburg had second place Machina, like Alice Origins Machina. And this was already being talked about in the community almost pretty much immediately after people found out what horse was.
Horse.
People were talking about Machina.
An ornithopter,
yeah.
a zero cost creature.
Yeah, for sure. And I will say that so one Machina made it into the top 8. I believe there were 3. Paul, you'd have to tell me exactly if you remember the breakdown. I think there were at least 3 Machinas in the event, and only one of them broke into top 8, correct?
I didn't get the breakdown, but I can. I think it was actually Minha who posted it in the
if you want to go, can you go check that in your tournament report real quick, just to see that breakdown? Because
I
know that multiple.
Right up.
I know multiple.
I got it right here. 3 of them entered.
That's what I thought. It was 3 Machinas, and one of them topped. Same with like the Fairy Tale Aristella, which took
Lance,
first place.
How'd you search that without using your hands?
Magic.
I have this cool visor.
Yeah, the visor.
Yeah,
Whoa, hey!
His face.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, I have a face too.
That's pretty sweet.
It just pops up
So
like that.
yeah, and then we had multiple of the Aristella Fairy Tale decks, but only one of those topped. The other Aristella that was in the top 8 was like an Aristella Control, which was pretty interesting. So we saw that there is some spice with older rulers experimenting to be able to bring into new events. So that brought up the topic of what older rulers, let's say pre-Saga Cluster, do we think we would be interested in saying, like, let's try to see if we can push this into a competitive light with the new cards.
Idea?
Go for it.
Remember when, like, literally all of Divinity was broken? I think that still could apply. So let's talk about that.
Having an opening hand of 10 is pretty good.
It seems pretty good, huh?
Yeah, for sure. I think Divinity stuff is pretty good. Honestly, I would look at K1. Like, I'm not gonna lie.
K1's always that thing that it's just always in the back of your mind, because like, one man a chance standbys.
Yeah, and it ebbs and flows because of, so like pre-dual cluster in the Wanderer format, even though it wasn't super being explored very much, just because we didn't have GPs and New Frontiers was the thing. Pre-dual cluster, K1 was actually very, very strong in Wanderer because it was a resonator-driven format, and whenever aggression,
we're kind of there.
Whenever strategies are resonator-driven, if you look at chance standbys, they're all very good against resonators. Like stealth and standbys are very good against resonators. Even go wide strategies for resonators. Even play big dudes against resonators. And so it's like, as resonators get better, stealth gets better. Like K1 gets better. And then Dual Cluster came out and was like, nah, everything's a J ruler. I was like, well, K1 not good. GG's,
yeah.
Right?
I think that's still a problem because of the prevalence of Zeus. Like,
yes.
Zeus is unfortunately the major gatekeeper right here.
Against K1 for certain.
I just mean in general. Like if you can't get over Zeus, I struggle to be like, this is a good choice.
Yeah, for sure. It certainly would be the thing. Like, I would want to sit down and really try to take a look at, how is K1 gonna get over Zeus? Like that would be the first hurdle, right? And I think with any of the rulers that we would be talking about tonight, it would be like what would happen if we threw it up against Zeus? But at first pass of like who would I think to start experimenting with? I think K1 would be that for me. Executioner can kill anything that's a 1-drop or 3-drop or less, so that's pretty much any resonator that's being played at this current format. Underground Dragger is great. Lorite is still great. Sign to the Future. Flame Trap is great. Sign to the Future is just like, hey, what's good? You went wide. That was a mistake. We have enough good life gain stuff that Mom and Dad suddenly is more viable. You also can
see you, Mike.
I got you, Mike, for sure. There's like Mom and Dad are also really good. Like again, the problem with Stelt's upper end when we were in J-Ruler format is the fact that like even if you got to Mom and Dad, you didn't have good dad targets. And so it was just like, well, I mean, I can kill you, but I'd also have to kill my own stuff, so that doesn't feel great. But again, resonator driven format, Dad's like, ah, yes, things to kill. You know? And so there's a lot of stuff going on there. And then you add in like Sealed One-Eyed Dragon, like these other good, cards that Black Witch, these other good utility cards that K1 can use while also setting things face down. It's like, okay, there might be something here. So for me, if I was going to start experimenting with an older ruler and newer cards, K1 would be where I would start. Oh, the other thing too is like Magi Trooper with K1 is really nice to set up Underground Dragger.
True.
Because like just free Magi Trooper, draw a card, pay 1 Underground Dragger, set that face down. Like, I'll turn this Magi free card into a 7/7 and kill your thing. Seems good.
Mike, what did you have to say?
So,
with that beautiful
you guys
face.
A pop quiz here. What color is Kaguya-1?
She is
blue.
blue.
Excellent. What card costs 2 blue and literally says if your opponent is playing a singleton deck, blow them out of the game?
Invasion of Ragnarok?
Are we playing Insatiable Urge for Treasure?
We're playing that thing as a 4 of. It's the only deck that's gatekeeping our deck. Play 4 of it, open it every game, side it out against the non-Zeus matchups.
That's also tough because like
I'd sideboard it first.
I would sideboard it.
I'd start it in the board and then main it for games 2.
You guys got the Chad strategies.
We're talking about actually being competitive.
Yeah, that's the chance.
It's a prison.
If everybody's playing, if Zeus doesn't get banned, at least half the field is going to be Zeus.
I don't think that's true
at all.
I disagree completely.
I think Zeus is going to be 10% of it.
Yeah,
I think you can look at Germany and be like, yeah, 10% of it's going to be this, and then the rest of it's going to be weird splinter stuff.
I also would argue that Zeus now is having played Zeus now. Like I played Zeus before, I've now played Zeus post, and I'm sure that I'm going to get flack from some of the Europeans for saying this, specifically one European whose name I won't mention, is that I honestly think that Zeus is actually harder to pilot post ban list. Because
100%.
It's not nearly as like, yes, this is my clear, obvious line every single time. I'm getting to this, I kill you. Because the hands are significantly less sculptable and significantly weirder. And like, how do I find... I did end up with a hand where I had Darkness of Zeus Engrave and the other 4 of Zeus's in my hand. And like, that was it. And I was like, well, I guess I have this... I don't really know what I do. I don't really know what I do with this, but this is what I have, I guess.
Well, clearly you draw 2 cards.
Yeah, clearly you draw with cards.
Yeah.
But, Zeus to me, I would agree with Lance on this. I think Zeus is probably going to still be about 10% of the field. But Zeus is still like even more complicated to pilot and now also has more things that I would also say the things that have come into the meta are different than the things that were already in the meta. And so the more different things that Zeus has to try to learn to pilot against, the more difficult it can be for Zeus to be successful.
Yeah, the deck becomes less of a slam dunk and comes down to player skill a lot more than it was.
For
Player
sure.
skill in my Force of Will?
What? Unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
I can't
demand
even
a
read
refund.
cards.
Yeah.
But so I think Zeus is interesting now because you know, a lot of the impactful Olympians are the 2-drops.
Yeah.
And so because he doesn't have his stone now, it's like he has to telegraph a lot more of what he's doing in those opening turns, which I think for a K1 is a big thing where you can use your game knowledge and player skill and decision trees to be like, okay, what do I need to sculpt for my hand here? And then
Well, the other
go
thing,
from there.
well, the other thing too for Zeus is that he actually has to start like casting Olympians more often
Yes,
because he can't just be
definitely.
like, I don't need this in my hand. It served its purpose being a search. Discard it, right? So then
Mhm.
suddenly like prison becomes better and stuff like that. Now, not necessarily as good because it's still going to count towards Union 7, but like you paid 2 will and didn't do anything. That's actually a setback for Zeus to like not get some value out of investing in the Resonator.
Here's something interesting too. Because Zeus has to focus more on 1-drops than 2-drops in the early game, now Garyon gets that much more important in the game.
Mhm.
You just kind of like
Yes.
it just
Mhm.
And
naturally-
K1's like, hey, I can play that. And you know what
Correct,
also,
yeah.
and you know what Gary and, so here's the other thing that's really funny, is you know what can't stop stealth and standby shit? Fair
Gary?
spell.
Oh yeah, that's just,
Because
Yes,
they
'cause
technically don't have quick cast.
They
Unless
have trigger.
they have trigger, which puts them onto the chase at instant speed and steals priority sequences.
yeah. Oh,
Whee!
also very fun story. You can play Nighttime Raiders to cheat in your Garyon out of your hand and
Yep.
shut off 1-drops.
Somebody
That might
bring
be a
K1.
bad,
Somebody
but you
bring
won't do it.
somebody
Oh,
bring
God.
K1 to somebody bring K1 to this next environment, please.
I need
You have
to
a week.
find my K1. That's
You
my
know what?
thing.
You know something, Jeremy? I've got something to say. First of all, Kevin Spencer, K1 is Kaguya 1.0.
Seer
It was
of the Blue Moon. It's
Seer
the
of the
one
Blue
that you
Moon.
only have to pay 1 to put a card in your standby zone.
Yeah, you know what I'm gonna do, Jeremy?
Yeah.
I'm extending my claim of $100 to whoever top. What did I say?
Top 8s?
Did I say top 8s?
Yeah.
Your Foul Fest with Prego TK. I'm going to extend that to this GP.
Okay.
Just for everybody out there.
So if you bring Pregnant Lady OTK and top 8 with it at the Caseyville GP, Mike will pay you $100.
I need to bust out my foil pregnant lady that I have for this.
There you go. There you go.
That's what we're talking about.
Paul, what about you? You've been manning the chat. What old pre-saga, pre-saga ruler do you think you would want to like play around with and maybe be like, I'm gonna take this and try to make it as competitively as possible? Like, what do you think you would go for?
I was going to say Olivia.
There's 2 that I have in my mind.
That's
You're right.
saga cluster. That's why I said pre-saga.
You're right.
Don't get me started on Olivia. I'll have a conversation with you about it.
Oh, I know. I've already influenced like 3 people to play Olivia in this next tournament. It's
Actually,
fine.
we're talking about it. It's good. I'd be looking at Dark Tree.
Yeah.
Definitely Dark Tree.
Interesting.
Tree Olympians.
I would Tree Olympians
Ooh.
with One-Eyed Dragon.
Ooh.
For sure.
Oh, don't make me beg.
And some other stuff. I haven't tooled around with it too much, but definitely also Freyla.
Yeah,
It's
the life
Freyla.
loss stuff. The
Lot
life
better.
loss stuff. Yeah, for sure. That's
But definitely only Olivia. Let's be real.
yeah.
Only Olivia.
The concern I have with Dark Tree, and I was talking with Dan about this the other day, is like my first pass, I looked at all these like hyper aggressive decks that are coming out and like Machina and everything else, and I was like, well, how do these decks? Looking at the deck list, my first pass of it, I was like, well, how are they possibly killing Dark Tree? The Dark Tree will just like live forever. And then I went, oh yeah, Sealed One-Eyed Dragon is just instant speed damage.
Right.
So like every deck just has that opportunity available. Does that mean that Dark Tree is off the table? No. But
No.
it does mean that like the flexibility of decks, it does mean that there's a very easy card for a lot of decks to be able to play comfortably in the main board that gives them a way to play through Tree, which I think pre-set 1 was actually a big concern because there were just decks in the environment that you sat down across from a Dark Tree and you went, oh, I can't win. Like, this is an unwinnable matchup. So I'm all for making I'm all for minimizing the number of matchups in an environment for any deck that are just straight unwinnable, purely by like mechanics, right? Like that just isn't fun for anyone. Like you can have an uphill matchup that it's just like based on the cards I'm using and the cards you're using, I'm just gonna have a hard time. But the reveal of the ruler being the thing that makes me go, I lose, is like, let's not have that.
It's the reason the tree got banned in Conqueror, but I'm not in charge of this ban list, so whoopsies.
Well, that's one
That
of the
was
reasons.
Conqueror. Have you tested with it recently?
No, Conqueror's
Okay.
dead.
Well, it looks like it's been conquered.
Hey-oh.
It has been.
Well,
It turns out as soon as there was an actual ban list that was being updated for Force Will officially,
Very
Conqueror
true.
doesn't need to exist anymore.
That's fair.
Right.
It served its
Oops.
purpose. Well done.
Yeah, I
Vampire.
had a good time with it.
Vampire currently building Fire, Darkness, Light, Dark,
The Darkest
Red,
Fire's Kill Lapis.
Darkest Fire, Skill Lapis.
Oh, that's a
Ooh.
Chad. That's a Chad ruler right there.
That's a cool card. I like that a
Tell
lot.
me,
That's
tell me
called playing the
more.
villain. That's called playing the villain right there. I make so many decks when anytime that I've ever taught players how to play Force of Will, I would give them a bunch of like decks that were like single, dual color, but I'm always making the final boss the Gil Lapis deck that steals their shit and plays it against them. It's just the perfect flavorful thing. It's
Yeah,
just
Just
perfect.
play a little bit of arch enemy.
Right. It's the
Yeah.
best. I get to be the villain.
Yeah, for
Mhm.
sure. For sure. There's a lot of fun stuff. I mean, there's I'm really excited for what we're gonna see at Caseyville in terms of approaches to builds. If you look at Europe versus, I mean, even outside of this format, like for FAU's entire history, right? You look at the differences in build approach between like European events and American events, and they're already really different. And then you go into this environment where legitimately in this format, there is so much cool stuff that you can do with so many cool rulers. I'm very excited. And then also playing people playing Olivia, which honestly might be a really strong choice for this environment.
There's a lot of Wanderers that got released recently. I'm really excited for somebody to bring Adelbert to this event and lose. But
hey,
you know,
that
like,
Adelbert flip into a Wanderer that search into horse into swing with
Yo.
Adelbert play.
hold up. Percy, a Dangerous Duelist, has 3 keyword abilities. Do you want to know which one is not one of those keyword abilities?
No.
It's First Strike, which Adelbert will give her. So she gets 4 keyword abilities. Playing
Whoa.
Adelbert. That's spice
That's
right
the spice.
there. Yo.
That's
Let's
the
whatever you
spice.
do.
So I've recently been organizing cards into binders.
Sure.
Because I'm doing like playset binders, and I got to Rhea Cluster, and I was looking at all the Gil package, and I was just like, oh, I don't know, Green Gil's kind of getting the neurons firing. Because we do have a lot of like good 1-drop chants that are like
Green
huge
Gill
impact.
is pretty based. I'm not gonna lie.
So we have like falling through the cracks of time, just turns down a lot of decks, and being able to grab that pretty much whenever you want as soon as Gil's flipped is like pretty huge. Neo Barrier Shadow, or not Neo Barrier. What's the Wolfgang card that turns off enter abilities for the turn?
Necronomicon Barrier.
Necronomicon Barrier, yeah. So like
Mhm.
grabbing those 2 cards at instant speed just made me go, oh, this might actually be a thing. We have a lot of like untyped ramp with Tristelion and that kind of, and Dry Wing. So I was like,
Lance, you've
can
read
actually
Dinner Time,
get-
right?
Yeah, also
Yeah,
dinner
yeah,
time
yeah,
to just
yeah.
like Judgment
That's
Gil
not-
immediately.
There's so much of just ways we can just like get to Gil so quickly that I'm like, this might actually be a thing.
Yeah, dinner time. Like, remember when? I mean, I distinctly remember when Leaf Paladin was printed and doing.
That was so sick.
I remember doing commentary in tournaments when a Gil player resolved the Leaf Paladin and just being like, and the Gil player is now so far ahead. And now, like, that is still
You get to go Power Rangers.
that is
and
still
you just
very
get a
much
wide board.
that is still very much potential, but also now Gil can go turn 1 dinner time Leaf Paladin.
Yeah, exactly.
And you're just like,
there
Oh, I'm sorry. What?
No, so here's the other thing. It's even better than this. You get to go dinner time, Leaf Paladin, Warhorse.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, like,
Let's go.
It's so
Search the
sick.
Zords.
Like, I was looking at this and I was seriously like, "Ooh, I might need to set aside this Uber 80K gil and actually put this together."
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, buddy.
Paul's very happy with his Power Rangers. Yeah. Well, the other thing too is that's the other piece too that as we talk about any of these decks is a lot of the ones that we're talking about like have searching somehow involved in them, right? And so like there's early pressure and there's a concern about searching, but also we talked about this before. Every single one of these decks can just be like, yeah, I'm also playing Sealed One-Eyed Dragon. Right? Which we talked about too when Sealed One-Eyed Dragon was first spoiled as like you don't think about it, but Sealed One-Eyed also gives a lot of power to older decks because they can play their strategies protected from the new age stuff that's trying to stop them because of Sealed One-Eyed. And it's like, oh, okay, so maybe there is actually some stuff here to play through. I'm not just like, oh, a Black Witch is going to resolve and I lose. Like, no, it's not. Like, you can still be okay. Spirit.
All right, guys. I'm gonna need you guys to talk me out of the best idea I've ever had.
I mean, why would I do that?
Pandora, the Weaver of Myth, Sprinting
No.
Steward, Warhorse, get the thing and go face.
I mean, I will see that you can like, yeah, I do remember specifically talking about Grimia with like the cool new toys, and you were like, no, that's dumb, Jeremy. Like, there is an interaction there because Warhorse can give J rulers swiftness.
Yeah,
like
it's a thing.
How much? Wait, hold on. How much damage is this?
Get Ragnarok for Grimia.
Hold
and then play Lumia and gain all your life back and be like, yeah, whatever.
No, there's something going on here. The sword that equips gives. Oh wait, no, Bullet of Envy, isn't it when you have less life?
Yeah, it gets bigger for the if you have less life than your opponent.
Yeah.
Okay, hold up. The gears are turning right now. Sorry, guys, give me a moment.
Welcome to the Grimia. This is a Grimia podcast now.
Added J Resonator gains +8/+8 unless your life is less than your opponent's. Okay, Sprinting Steward time. Let's do some math.
This is a sprinting. I guess I should qualify. This is a Sprinting Steward podcast now. Talked about this with Fish Drive last week.
It's because, oops, the Wanderer Banlist Committee missed the problem card instead of banning.
I actually think Sprinting Steward is just fine in this environment.
You're
okay.
wrong, but I'll continue to make FTKs until you're proven wrong. But anyway,
you'll continue to make FTKs that can't successfully pull off their combo through any form of like actual removal, and we'll continue to be okay.
When you get there, you get there.
Yeah, hey, it's fine. When you get there, you get there. It's okay. It's okay.
Exactly.
Listen. We're just trying to chase the thrill of the FTK. Actually doing the FTK.
So the irony here, I was talking with Lance before the podcast, is a lot of people talk about the.
You only need 600 left to do it. Perfect. Done.
There you go. A lot of people talked about the fact that the Aristella Fairy Tale combo can FTK on coin. First off, it's like a 4-card like sequence, so it's pretty difficult to do. But one of the things that you can do is actually, if you're playing Olivia, that can just never happen. You can't ever be FTK'd by Aristella if you're playing Olivia.
No, Grimmia's an FTK on the coin with 1 card in hand.
As Grimia?
Yeah, Whispers.
Yeah. Oh my god. Yeah. Okay. Hear me out, boys.
Hello, Samuel Mackey. How's it going?
Okay, so hear me out. Hello, Samuel Mackey. Anyway. Okay.
This is a Grimia deck? We're talking about Grimia?
This is Grimia.
Okay.
This is Grimia.
Go for it. I'm listening. I'm here.
Okay.
We're on coin.
It's going.
Wait, hold on. The brain waves are moving.
Does this involve Origins at all?
I hope so.
I think it needs to.
I was about to say,
can't produce red.
Yeah, Grimia can't produce red. Yeah.
Oh, geez.
Damn it. Okay. I have to think again.
And we're back. Got it. Okay.
Right, cool. Wait, it deals 400 damage with the thing that deals 400 when it's revealed.
But you need But you need to recover your ruler. So you got to reveal
bat. It's fine. It's fine.
Great. Your local area is trying to get foul going again. That's awesome. That's really great to hear. We are hearing that actually more and more. It's like more and more stores are actually trying to like. I honestly think that the announcement. I think that the announcement of the 10-year anniversary set actually triggered kind of a wave in some like stores that didn't necessarily feel burned by it, but were like, I'm not really, or like just kind of stopped paying attention to FOW, to suddenly be like, oh, FOW's been around for 10 years and is still going. Like,
Yeah.
that just feels like
it shows a provable
this
track
game was dead.
record.
right,
Yeah.
exactly.
Oh, it's okay. So it is. It is in fact. You need 2 cards. You need the
Unplayable.
Unplayable.
Unplayable FTK.
Oh,
You need 2 cards and you need to be playing Grimia. This is unplayable.
That's also the extreme factor of this will never be playable.
Unplayable.
So that's okay. Also, real quick, Lance, I just realized, do you need me to pass you something? You had your hand out for a little while, just like
No,
Oh,
it's don't worry about it. It's just stuck
Okay,
that
cool.
way.
That's really unfortunate, and you
Yeah.
should probably get that checked out.
Yeah. Paul, we could go down the Olivia the hole for a bit, Paul, if you
Shut
want to go
up,
down the Olivia
Rustin. I
hole.
thought I
yeah.
had something.
So one of the things that we've seen out of this, I'm going to turn it over to Paul for his ideas in a little bit, but to preface this, one of the things that we saw coming out of Madberg was, again, this shift to resonator-driven strategies, a shift to the white child and red child being like what felt like the like most successful child combination.
Hearing those names is still so fucking weird to
White
me.
child.
White child.
I mean, we knew going into this set, right, that white
The
and red were
Fire
gonna be the best
Moonchild and
ones.
the Light Moonchild.
The Fire
please
Moonchild, yeah,
go that
okay.
way.
Fire Moonchild and the Light Moonchild. Fine.
Just edit that.
Yeah, perfect. What were things that were going to be successful, right? So the idea being that we're using Light Moonchild proactively to try to like protect the combo for the turn, and then we're saying even if you do have the one cancel, we'll protect it with red, with fire. And so coming out of that event, there are like 2 things to kind of learn. It's like, what are some things that we can use to stop resonator strategies that aren't a cancel in 1 card, right? And so almost all of those exist
Or
in
carry on.
no, not that aren't a cancel. I just said that aren't a cancel. You dingus. Is
Final breeze.
blue and in water and in light being things like intimidate, being things like falling into the cracks of time, a little bit into the darkness stuff with like Necronomicon barrier, or people were saying like, well, that can't be a resonator answer of like Black Witch or Exorcist Mage because then they'll just sealed One-Eyed Dragon it. Okay, so we're not looking for a resonator floodgate. We need like a spell-based floodgate, and those all happen to be in colors that Olivia is very comfortable with. And there's
Like
a lot of
blue and blue.
there's also
And
a lot
white.
of like Eternal, and you know what doesn't care about Eternal? Bouncing everything back to your hand. Do you know what Olivia's very, very good at? Exactly that. So, she has a lot of things going for her, and from that, I'll pass it over to Paul to continue to hype about how he would approach Olivia, kind of in this context. Paul, go.
Well, you did it. So
No, you have more
Build
thoughts than me.
Olivia.
I do, because that was literally all my thoughts.
Excellent.
Jeremy, too good of a host.
One thing, okay, I can add one thing. So Mike and I were talking about how Fiola is really good for stopping contracts. So
That's true.
things like the Aristella contract coming onto the chase, you can just Fiola it back into the deck, which is really helpful. It's not canceling it, so it gets around Red Moonchild.
Yeah, it's also not bouncing
Which
it
is
back
really
to the
helpful.
hand, which is really nice.
Mm-hmm. It gets around the Light Moonchild as well, because your Dolly summon is not a spell, so it does not count toward that quota.
You get a
So
lot
that's
of
really
free
helpful
things.
as well. Other things, if your opponent already has an established board, you have Demonic Fish that just burn things for 10 and burn your opponent for 10, then you just have a casual 10-10. And you can still run Horse
Horse!
because you search out Horse
Yes,
with
yeah.
Dolly.
to
So-
give that Dolly swiftness.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Give that Olivia swiftness when she flips.
Sorry to go back
Oh.
to Samuel's things. Only problem is singles as we are in Australia. TCG player has stopped shipping here for like a year. Yeah, but I have heard things about like Australia's distributor trying to get back into it a little bit more proactively.
The TCG player thing might be changing with the purchase by eBay.
From eBay. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, that's also
I've heard
probably
eBay do
big.
ship to Australia.
Yeah. Also, Cardo, I'm pretty sure Cardo Doka, one of the channel sponsors, ships to Australia as well. So there's an option as well.
Wow, we got connections, Jeremy. That's crazy. Tell us more about those connections that you have.
Connections.
Connection.
Connections.
Yeah, there like
Lance, join us with these connections.
I
man.
can't.
his arms
I know
being
you
like a
can.
Megazord.
I'm making fun of that.
Sigmund
Anyway,
didn't draw the animation for it.
no,
Damn.
no.
I can do it. I'm just really bad at drawing hands, so it'll be stick figure hands going like.
Yeah.
just like the really nice Sigmund
Cardo
art,
Doco.
and then
It's
two.
like Warhorse
stick figures.
There's just no animation to them. They're just
You can just get right in there.
not. Wow. Whoa. Step away from the camera, bud. Jeez.
Looking sharp, looking sharp,
No,
buddy.
I'm like even with you guys now, right?
Yeah,
it's
that's
like the
good.
same
Yeah.
ratio
Yeah.
as Paul.
Yeah, it's
You're
good.
like staring
Can you pop your visor
directly
real quick?
into my mind with your cybernetics.
Oh shit.
You can see me.
Oh, the
Wow,
wink.
With a wink.
Oh
God.
handsome.
That was amazing.
It's like when Kakashi took off his mask that time.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. it's
Which
crazy.
time? When we had another mask underneath the mask?
Mm-hmm.
The biggest thing I think going into going into Caseyville this weekend from Matterberg is that like the meta is like very not solved. The first GP of usually any format is the turn things sideways format, or it's just like people are still figuring stuff out, so try to go for the simplest, most cleanest quick kill, right?
Red deck
the
wins.
American GP.
Red deck
Yes.
wins. Yeah,
Yes.
red deck wins. So we now have the bar set in terms of like what those decks in this environment look like. So it'll be interesting to see how the meta takes like one step forward, two steps forward in the sequence beyond that. The other thing too is that to go back to the results, is there were multiple different people playing those style of lists. Like we said, multiple people were playing the Fairy Tale Aristella, multiple people were playing Machina, only one of each of them topped. So, as usual, player skill continues to be very, very important as well. And I think this meta is significantly no different, which is exciting. And also makes me very sad that I'm currently commentating by myself this weekend.
Imagine being a skillful Force of Will player.
Because I'm going to have to watch some very complicated Force of Will and talk about the lines all by myself until the O2 drop squad finally kind of comes through with their promise and commentates with me after O2 dropping.
You know they
Jeremy,
won't.
they've
They're
already
going to go all the way to
They've
top.
yeah, that's the curse though. They're like, oh, it's fine, Jeremy. I'll O2 drop commentate, and then they never do that. It's always, oh, I've top 8'd Jeremy. Sorry, I can't commentate. I'm like,
Sorry, can't
Jeremy,
help
did I
with
tell you
day
that I
two either.
commentated GP Minnesota, or did I just top anyway?
Regardless, though, it's going to be fun. Oh, I do have to talk about, if you are in Michigan, there's some cool news for CCG Prime people that might be watching. On the 10th of October and the 25th of October, CCG Prime is going to be hosting a Force of Will Festival entry event, where based on if you win, you get free entry into the Force of Will Festival later this year. I hope.
And what can people expect at the Force of Will Festival?
Tell us more, Jeremy.
I did not say that I want Dalton to lose, Paul. Hush your face. So the Force of Will Festival, as it stands right now, we have a video up on the channel. It's November 5th and 6th at the Radisson in Kalamazoo. We have a video up on the channel showing just some of the stuff. Currently, between cash and prizes, we're at about 25 grand in terms of
Holy.
value for this event. With stuff to be able to win in the main event or for entry or for side events. Side event details are going to be coming soon. We're going to be working out some details because we have the venue Saturday and Sunday from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. regardless of what happens in the event. So like if top 8 ends at noon on Sunday, we still have the venue for 10 hours. So I really want to make sure that people feel like they should be there to be able to play Force of Will for like the maximum amount of time possible. So a lot of our events are probably going to be on demand 8-man pod single elimination. So it's just like, if you lose, go hop in another event and just like fire them off as quick as possible, because the prizing will certainly be worth it. Most of the current thought, prize structure wise, is to have it be 8-man pods, any format that the pod decides they want to play, and then winner gets to either take home one of the exclusive of their choice, an exclusive Chinese playmat, which they value like minimally at $80, or one each of the Chinese Melfi and the Chinese Black Witch, which like those are 150 a piece. So like win a side event, get $300 worth of cards. Seems good. So that'll be exciting.
Time to bring back Shotgun, the format that only like 8 people know about.
But I'm also talking about like we might do. We're currently in talks about maybe seeing if alternate souls might want to get in on some of the side events and support some of it that way. So if people want to like try alternate souls as like a fun side event.
Ooh, I will bring my playset.
Yeah, so like that might be fun, or like Origins or Epic Stories with the new ban list, or any like if 8 people sit down and say we want to play X format, then we'll play it. Or like if 8 people sit down and say we want a cube, I will have the cube on site. I'll be like, sure, we can do an 8-man cube pod. Like that's fine. The whole point of Force of Will Festival is like we want you to be playing Force of Will the entire weekend. And so we want the side events to be as enticing as possible for people. Any feelings towards the places you might think the recently released rulers will end up? Oh, can you see what these Chinese promos are? Yeah, I can grab a couple real quick. Well,
working on that right now.
Real quick.
You guys talk about where you guys think the new contract rulers will end up while I go grab those promos real quick.
Paul, how much couch space do you have?
I think the rulers are interesting.
How much couch space you got?
I don't know what you just said, but okay.
No, I'm trying to figure out how much couch space you have. Trying to see how much
couch space.
Yeah,
Enough.
Sick. How much are flights to Kalamazoo?
Is Jeremy not going to have the foul house ready to go?
I am not going to have the foul house ready for you. I'm sorry.
Dang.
Why are Kalamazoo flights so expensive?
Fly into Grand Rapids or fly into Chicago and take the like $30 Amtrak to Kalamazoo. Like
I'm just going to drive there.
Or just drive. Yeah, for sure. Grand Rapids.
The Amtrak is a 3-hour Amtrak if you're lucky.
Yes, but it's cheap as hell.
Speaking from experience, it is also relatively cheap.
So these are what the format.
Fest to like New York City.
Hold on. These are what the promos look like. The quality's not super great. Hold on. I'm gonna zoom in on myself for a second. You're actually wrong, Mike.
Yeah, I was about to ask. Did they change the card stock to be the same as the rest of them?
That's what the Chinese Melfi in. So here's the thing. It has been declared specifically with the Black Witch and the Melfi that being able to use them is TO discretion. So, for FowFest, these are legal.
Of course they are.
I will also say that I used it legally. Used the Dark Witch, was allowed to use the Dark Witch legally in the Wanderer side event at Minnesota, which means that Games and Geek is willing to talk to you about letting you use them.
Sure.
Wow.
So like that's not nothing, and they are insane. We have 40 of each of them to be able to use for FowFest. So like that's a lot. That's a lot. We have
I think $1,000.
I think at this point in time we have like 60 plus like super exclusive playmats to be able to give away, plus like banners and all kinds of other crazy cool stuff. Custom deck boxes that I haven't shown off yet but are very, very cool. All kinds of like come to FowFest. It's gonna be worth your time.
David's asking, why is it TO's discretion? It's because they are printed on slightly different card stock, so they are technically not conducive to the rest of the cards in Force of Will.
Yeah, it's like the ones that used to be printed were actually a lot thinner, so like it was very, very easy to tell the difference between like a Chinese promo and a non one. These ones are just a smidge thicker, but not so much that like they're super easy to identify. I've done some test shuffles with them where I like took 20 cards, put one in, shuffle, see if I could identify it, and I was able to correctly identify the card like 30% of the time that I was able to like find it.
The Scorn of Dark Alice one was way more obvious.
Yes, for sure. It was like paper thin. Like, yes, this is Scorn. So that's why it's TO's discretion, at least particularly for the Melfi and the Darkness Witch. None of the other Chinese ones can be used legally.
Basically, if you're playing these, just have an extra copy on hand so you can swap it out.
Yeah. Or
still flex.
Or be fancy and like have your main ones, have your like legal ones in the main deck, and your and the Chinese one and the like sitting off to the sides. You could be like, I play Black Witch, and then just put your custom like the Chinese one on top of it, like people are doing currently with their secret rare contracts.
No, see, that's a fun gamble to play where you play your contract, you go, oh, is it the secret?
Oh yeah. No, it's not. Let's see. Going to look at the Chi-Town to Amtrak, but still need some roommates. I would recommend coming into the different Discord servers for Force of Will. We've already seen some people try to set up roommates through that conversation for the different Discord servers to set up for time. You can either, currently we have a room block at the Radisson, and you can get, it's $150 a night, in the hotel where the venue is. So that's pretty good. But there's also
that
like
means late night drunk Force of Will.
It also means that I'm looking into maybe hosting some kind of like fun in the lobby like Friday night thing, like almost like a player party kind of thing. Kind of. We'll see if I get some
Drunk Foul is literally how I got my invite to Worlds. So very importantly,
fun. Yeah,
it's great. I learned literally the entire Shadow X Athenia Loop combo the night before, forgot the whole thing the day up, and still topped because Perfect Loki's broken.
We watched him on stream do the loop 3 times without advancing board state. It was great.
That's what happens when you forget the whole combo.
Did the loop, did not get any value out of it 3 times in a row.
Well, I did it.
And then eventually Gerardo was like, Mike, do this, please, so that we can be done.
Yeah, you did that.
Yeah, entry gets better the more people that they have playing. Yep, because there's 3 entry levels there. But for more details, definitely go check out the like Force of Will Festival video that we have on the channel. That gives you a lot of hype there. How much of the conversation did we go about the new contract rulers? What was
none at all?
0.
Great. Let's go into that. How are we thinking about new contract
Mika's
rulers?
last.
It's interesting.
Fun.
The contract stuff is weird. I think like Rostella is pretty much just going to be controller or the go wide aggro. That seems fairly set in stone.
Yeah.
I think all the other ones are still kind of in flux currently.
Yeah, I would agree.
I don't think they've solidified because I think there was a Berserker at the tournament, right?
That's a good question.
I
don't think there was actually.
There was one Asuka. That was it. So there was 2 Falchion, Asuka, and then Aristella's.
Yeah, no Vega.
No Vega, no Ainz.
No Ainz.
Yeah.
No Mika.
Which is very interesting because Ainz actually has a pretty decent Aristella matchup if they're trying to go white red, because you just get to like untap and do mastery stuff all day long. And right. Rain of Comets is insane. Like, the card is bonkers.
It's weird. Falchion, I think, has the most like variability in what you can do with his package.
Oh yeah,
because you know everyone's kind of being like, oh, do we do like Avengers of Ataraxia? Or yeah, that's the 10,000.
Yeah, the 10K,
you know,
10K.
You can go that route. What were we talking about before the stream started?
We were talking about like using Justice with like Sniper Shot to do like multi-attack Justice. Like multi-attack Justice is something that people have been trying to use because it also puts more counters on Justice. So like not only is he like getting able to swing twice, but now he has like 2 ways to put counters on himself so he can keep getting bigger faster. That's an idea. We've also seen like I have seen people play contractless justice, where they're purely using justice for Falchion for daily research and like playing like a hard daily research control.
It's a valid strategy,
which is
there's
very, very interesting. Yeah,
there's a lot of these contract rulers that you kind of don't have to contract them. Being able to play their mastery spell is enough.
Yeah. Do you think going with the Asuka list on your channel is not a terrible choice for a deck? If I was playing in the GP this weekend with Asuka, I would play something similarly to what we put on the channel. I would not play the Turbo Ramp package. I would not play the Griffin package, the Part of True Power package. It's honestly not necessary.
What you should do is do Magic Stone Dance of Chaos.
Magic Stone Dance of Chaos for sure goes into that deck, though. I played against that earlier today. Shoutouts to Verosin from our Discord server. He was like, Magic Stone Dance of Chaos, ramp 3 stones, contract. And I went, we're on turn 3 and you have 6 stones. You're about to reanimate. You're about to reanimate a Garion and a Spirit of Decay with 18 cards in your graveyard. That feels so bad for me. Like, it was gross. It was gross. Asuka's best card is hands down Spirit of Decay. It is her best card. It is her win con. So anything that you can do to better facilitate Spirit of Decay, I think is great. Because that card is so good. Like, it's because it also doesn't need to care about its counters to just drain your opponent's life. It gets around wall because it's not damage, it's life loss. And it's also, if it does survive through its enter effect, every counter is a -2/-2. So like, you just keep the board clear forever. It's any deck playing Asuka, I think you're probably playing
4 of Spirit Decay, you'll be fine.
Yeah, I think you probably go for a bug format, blue, so that you have access to Necronomicon Barrier and Falling into the Cracks of Time, as terms of like your reactionary stuff. But other than that, I do think that there is some strength to Asuka for sure. She is a little bit weak to, and I'll say this, she's a little bit weak to Light Moonchild. I'll correct myself. She's a little bit weak to Light Moonchild, but you also can very easily get around that by just assuming that your first contract is a removal spell. Like, you're like, you are just like, I'm playing this 2-drop to clear your board. I do not care about reanimating right now. I just want to clear the board. Especially because we know that Asuka can contract loop. So that also helps her feel a lot better too. So your first contract is just to pay 2, clear the board, put a 7/10 onto the field. And as long as you're okay with that and you like play considering that, it also makes contracting early feel a lot better. Because you're not as worried about what's in your graveyard, because you know that you're not going to get to cast it anyway. So you're just like, just cast this. I need to get the board clear. So, yeah. Babatunde, hello, my friend.
Just to circle back on the question, I think a lot of the contract rulers kind of have the same kind of flexibility that kind of rune rulers had. Where it's like they have a general sense of what you want to do, but it's just kind of like you can kind of do whatever you want. Like I have a buddy of mine that I play with locally, and he's been building atoms with Asuka, and so he's just milling himself and then just slamming a Bahamut onto the field. Because why not?
Yeah, why not?
You could take Asuka the same way and do like, oh, I'm gonna do Asuka 12 Olympians. It's like, or machines even.
Yeah, Union 7 like for machines. Yep.
Right, exactly. Or, it's like there's a lot of different ways you can take it.
Yeah, a buddy of ours played Antibody Asuka and then used the contract to mill a bunch of antibodies and then reanimate 3 of them. And I went,
yeah, that's a thing.
Stop. Because of the fact that it's all like part of one resolution is like the craziness part of it. Like there's so much you can do in this environment that one event does not serve a good sense of what the contract rulers are capable of outside of like Aristella. I think he's pretty
one's pretty explored.
He's pretty much got 2 versions in terms of, and he's about what we expected. Like when Aristella was first printed, we looked at him and went, yeah, okay. Right? He didn't seem very complicated. He seemed very straightforward. And we've seen that. Now, don't get me wrong, there is a lot of cool interactions and neat counterplay. If you go watch the tournament report, Lars actually kindly wrote a little like breakdown in one of the comments to go further into some of the unique play lines that deck has. But at its core, it's like one of two strategies. There's just a lot of like niche support that you can do out of it. Whereas Berserker and Ainz and Justice and there's a lot of and Asuka is a lot of like, I get the mechanic of this ruler. Now what do I do with that mechanic? And you have a lot of freedom, which is a lot of fun, which makes the casual environment like absolutely hilarious. Because people doing some crazy stuff.
So I've recently tried to get the game started at my locals. I recently had to move, and so being able to describe them as very generally as like, what's Falchion? Additions matter. What's Asuka? Graveyard matters. What's Mika? Tokens matter in like combat tricks. And it's just like very easy, generic, easy to understand things that do leave a lot of interpretation to the player. There's a lot of player expression right now, which I think is why the game feels pretty healthy right now.
It feels very fun. Like, it feels very, very fun. I was saying earlier with Barosin that I would say that there are 3 like levels of play, and it's like tier 3, like level 3 is like kitchen table and locals, right? Level 2 would be like, okay, now we're like having bigger but still kind of local area or like state level tournaments where like
it's locals but with maybe some prize support.
Yeah, right. It's like there's a little bit more on the line, so we're trying a little bit harder, and then you have like
regionals.
GP. Yeah, regionals levels. And then you have like
remember ARGs.
And then you have
yeah.
And then you have like the competitive like GPs invites are on the line. And honestly, level 2 and level 3 has so much player expression capabilities right now that can still be successful, and it's so fun. So fun right now. Envious Dragon is kind of useful now, especially against Neverend and Justice.
I don't even remember what that card does.
It gains the symbol skills of the things that your opponent has and is always 100 bigger than the attack of your opponent's biggest thing.
Interesting. That is indeed a thing.
Or it's funny.
That's so silly. I just want to play it friends at home, but I'm addicted to shiny cards anyhow. Feel that. Feel that to my core. Feel that to my very core. Ugh, I should sit down and like price out my entire Forcible collection. Ugh, so much shiny cardboard.
Or not.
Or don't.
Don't do that to
Don't
yourself.
hurt myself. They had a chance to make
don't do
Play
that
a
to
Wolf,
yourself.
Undefeated Warrior, a wolf, not a beast. It could have been a werewolf. It could have been.
It could have been a werewolf, but beast is a lot more relevant of a tribe.
That's true. There's so many beasts.
And there's beast
They
support.
just should have made werewolves relevant again.
They could have just done werewolf / beast.
Yeah.
They could. It literally would have done nothing.
Oops. Just like how Sparklefish is a beast, but not a fish.
Not a fish. He a beast.
Remind me.
Don't remind you.
I'm still not over that.
Yeah, so it's gonna be this weekend's gonna be very exciting. I'm very excited to see what people play. I'm excited to see the ruler breakdown and how it's different. I'm excited to see people continue to experiment. I will say that, to go on to the idea of like so much expressive potential, usually when a new set comes out for the channel, within a week, Paul and I typically have like, this is what we want to show off for this ruler. It's built, it's ready, and we pretty easily churn through, and then we're kind of, even within like a week and a half, we're already thinking of like the hype of the next set. The way these cards have been playing, I've genuinely been like, I'm excited for next set, but I'm also perfectly fine just being here with this set right now. Like, there's a lot more to explore and have fun with, which is very cool. Which is very, very cool.
Then we get to get, what is it, 6? Is it 5 or 6 rulers in the next set?
So it's 6?
Question mark?
But it's 12 with 4 Moon Children. So current,
right.
I put this in the Forcible TCG Discord. Current speculation is this, and this is based on current pack model, assuming, and so then extrapolating that there might be contracts out of these packs. That's not a conversation right now, but like the consideration of what does a ruler pack look like based on what we've seen and our kind of thoughts. It goes like this in my mind. You have 4 ruler packs that are the dual color ruler, their contract, and a random one of the new 4 Moonchilds. And then there are 2 ruler packs that are reflect and refrain and their contract, and then another ruler pack that is the 2 void rulers and their contract. So that it's like three ruler slot kind of cards in one pack. Because from everything we've seen, the void rulers can't do anything. Like Solaris cards, being like Ainz, don't get Moon Children, so it would make sense that if there's 2 Solaris rulers that they would partner together. And Reflect Refrain will always be together in some way, shape, or form. They can't not. They're the twins. It's the whole point.
I thought that Reflect Refrain were going to be the 2 were going to be Moon Children. That was my
Ooh.
theory.
No, they are 2 of the they're the green white contract ruler from what we can tell.
But needless to say, that's introducing a whole new thing of like I think all of those are going to be just as open-ended.
Yeah, for sure.
That's going to be crazy.
And we're going to have all 10 moon fragments too, of like the dual color moon fragments. So like that opens up a whole nother world.
Clefadonk asks a good question. It says, speaking of new sets, do you guys have any pet, maybe not super meta relevant cards that you want to see reprinted in the Wanderer support pack? Kind of like the question that the company put out where they were like, what card should we make a promo?
Yeah.
Oh, I deleted this list a long time ago. Dang. I might still have it. Hold
mine,
on.
so like
no, I still got it.
My pet card has always been Persia Beast Queen in Hiding. I have a
the 3-drop one?
Yeah, I have a stamped playset signed by AG, and those are my babies. I want that card to be so good. It's not, but it's.
Optional possession.
Oh, optional possession's good.
Just like that kind of card, a high utility multimodal card. Love that.
A pet card that I would want to see reprinted Wanderer support. Oh, see, that's hard for me to.
Spiderweb.
That's hard to see, but that's hard for me to say because I like have them all. Still, like
let's say it gets new art.
New art, okay.
Spiderweb.
Damn it, Paul, you're right. It's got to be Spider's Web. I love that card
it's
so
always
much.
Spider's Web.
I love that card so much. I honestly think it's still pretty decent. Like it's or Spinning Aquasoul. I think.
Ooh, yeah, Spinning Aquasoul.
Like
good.
I would love to see a promo Spinning Aquasoul. Spinning Aquasoul is again also very good now. I've put it into Zeus now because we don't get to like contract as comfortably.
You're a single deck.
But even outside of that, like I think Spinning Aquasoul is really good right now because again it buys back your contract, right? So like one contract becomes 2, can use it again. So like Spinning Aquasoul I think is a card that I think could see a reprint in the Wanderer support set and be very, very good.
Ooh, somebody said Jupiter. Not a bad choice.
5-drop Jupiter?
5-drop Jupiter.
I do like myself a 5-drop
That's like a pet
Jupiter.
card.
Yeah. Then I could get that card in foil and put it back in the cube.
Yeah.
It's one of the only cards in the cube that can't be foil. And I hate it. That's why we removed him from the cube. Not because he's bad or overpowered, but
Max
because
petty.
but cannot be foil. Get out. Get out of the cube. Sandworm was in the cube for a little bit, and I was like, no, this card can't be foil. I'm out. First off, it's bad. Secondly, it can't be foil, so we're get out of here.
You can't put all good cards into the cube. There's got to be some chaff.
There is some chaff, but if it's chaff that can't be,
chaff.
if there's chaff that can't be shiny, it can't be in the cube. Gotta go. Blessing of Yggdrasil.
That got a promo recently.
I did get a promo recently. A beautiful promo.
A really nice promo.
Foment of the World Tree also would be a good card.
Foment so... Oh,
we lost Mike.
We said no.
It's good. Foment of the World Tree, I think, would be a cool promo to see. That card was great.
Funny card.
Yeah, I wouldn't hate that.
Yeah.
We lost you, Mike. We lost that beautiful face.
We did. Just in time for us to... you bring up a really good question, Clefadonk, that actually I think is going to be the question for our giveaway tonight. We're doing a giveaway of a playset of Diversity Palace promos, courtesy of CCG Prime. So, answer in the chat. What card do you think you would want to see most printed in the Wanderer reprint set? So give us that, and I'll start typing in some names. Yeah, it's a proper podcast now. Now we can start. Mike's disconnected. We can start now.
There you go. Got him.
So let me go ahead and get random.org pulled up here and start typing in names.
I didn't say it before, but I'm interested in Adam fairy tales for
Jeez,
a
what's happening?
pre
Adam the Rune Ruler.
Adam the Rune Ruler.
Interesting.
'Cause you get Harvesting Season, you get Dark Alice, Rabbit Princess, you get new support in Night of the Phantom Moon, perfect Loki support for board wiping.
So what are you trying to put into the graveyard a bunch? Like what are you hoping to get off of the harvesting season?
I guess in my head, I'm
10
dumping
chance.
10 cards into Harvesting Season. I'm dumping the Adam Resonator to turn my Zeus Alice online, but I'm
Mhm.
also dumping 10 cards that can just be turned into a fairy tale at any point, so the Never End is just
So,
always online as well.
to just turbo into Never. Yeah, that's a thing.
You could turbo in the Never End, feed your perfect Loki, put your Adam Psychart Resonators into the graveyard, turn everything
Yeah.
on. It's not
Exceed,
as powerful as Kaguya.
exceed the light.
I love Exceed the Right. Like that thing is so goofy. I've pulled that out of some locals and people
That
are like,
actually,
what is this card?
If
do?"
you actually go back, I distinctly remember we had a deck way back at the beginning of the channel's history when we were still DMO73 gaming that was Prince and Princesses, and it was Exceed the Light abuse with like Seth the Arbiter and all the princes because they all had like the same cost. So it was all just like princes. And like that deck was fun as heck. Exceed the Light is just a fun card. It's so goofy and I love it.
That Grim Cluster
it's so
Limited
funny.
is so crazy. It's funny to look back at what we
All
used
right,
to
but
do.
also, can we talk about See the Light plus the Water Dragon that was in the Mercurius Starter deck to get a 9-drop from your deck?
What 9-drop are you grabbing?
I don't know, dude. Whatever you want to grab.
What is even a 9-drop?
I don't know.
Is
Let's
there a
find out.
9-drop?
Hades.
Awesome.
Hades.
Hades.
Okay, but
Stealth Hades?
Stealth Hades.
Okay, but like a real 9-drop.
I mean, he is a real 9-drop.
No, he isn't.
Allosaurus. Oh, Ultra Magic Stone Golem.
There you go.
Yeah.
Those are your two.
Yeah.
Tell a fairy tale.
I'm in.
I'm all
Ow.
about I really do like Alice's Castling. That's a card that I love.
Wow,
Oh, yeah.
literally
Classic.
5 of these.
I'm always a big fan of Alice's Castling.
Yo,
It-
Neo Ragnarok. No.
It didn't get a promo, right? They did Dreams of Wonderland, but not Alice's Castling. They reprinted Alice's
Right.
Castling as a mage art, but it still had the original artwork.
No, they did
So, like,
Alice's Castling.
Not
Yeah,
as a
it's pretty
promo.
sure that got a promo.
Mm-hmm.
Wait.
Absolutely. It did.
Yo,
Wasn't it Dreams of
Wonderland?
Wasn't it Dreams of Wonderland? Not Alice's Castling?
They both did. They both did.
You'll have to show me this. Send it to me in Messenger so I can be reminded what this promo looks like.
Sure.
Paul, you're talking about Adam, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so hear me out. 8-drop Adam and Fairy Tale Land from DBV. You may pay 6 less to play this card. Kill
Ooh,
it. See
Zeke
the
the
light
Ancient
in.
Magic? That's a
Get
good
an
one, Frank.
8-drop.
Yeah, the Alice Castling promo is like Alice is actual a picture of Alice. And not
I
like
got it
just
right
the
here.
Knight and the
I'm just
Rabbit.
gonna remember just
Yeah.
never mind.
I think it was like one of the first Wanderer League promos. So those
It was
were
a
kind of
Ruler
our
League
big-
promo.
Was it really?
The first two Wanderer
Oh
League
yes,
promos were
yes.
Vlad
Okay, sorry.
and
Now
Grim.
I immediately remember that artwork as soon as I saw like the little snippet of it. I'm dumb. Also, bring back Alice's Castling. Love
there's
that
a
card.
there's a lot of promos in this game.
Okay. I think that's a good amount of entries. Did we ever have Alice's World as a promo? No.
No.
Did not.
That
I
would be
wonder.
pretty cool.
I
Can
wonder
you
if they're
imagine?
gonna print Alice World.
Could you imagine? Could you imagine doing Alice's World, but like making it the Valhalla that Alice has created?
Oh, that'd be cool.
Like having like almost kind of an expansion of Tea Party from another dimension, or like before the decisive duel, but like you expand that like artwork style and those characters and that kind of inclusion and create a new Alice's World promo. That would be sick. Okay, let's see how many times I'm randomizing this. Okay, here we go. Giveaway
I forgot that
1,
card.
8 billion
2, 3. It was 5, 4,
Wow.
and 5. Our winner is Vampire 989. Congratulations with his
Vampire.
answer of OG Abdul Al Hazred. Yeah, let's do it. OG Abdul.
That's a pretty nice one.
Let's
I
go.
really, I was kind of hoping with the ruler celebration box that they would have promos, like a promo pack with like some different arts or something.
That's like
I just
included,
want-
like snuck in there.
Yes, I want old rulers with new art.
That would be pretty sick. So Vampire
I'll
989,
be here for that.
congratulations for your win. We need you to go ahead and send us your address to rulerschoolcontent@gmail.com with your name and everything else, and we will get you those promos courtesy of CCG Prime. Thanks so much for participating and being here tonight.
Special request.
Special
New
request.
promo.
New promo.
For the Vampire 989. It's Abdul, but illustrated by Yoshitaka Amano.
Ooh, any Amano art would be great.
Yeah, that'd be pretty sick. That is going to do it for us here tonight. It has been a wonderful time talking with you all in this grab bag episode. There will be no podcast next week, most likely, because we will be recovering from the GP stream, especially since I'm going to be commentating it by myself. Whee! But we look forward to that this weekend. We have a match this week between Athenia Loops versus Justice coming up on Wednesday. The deck profiles for that will be up next week because, again, this weekend is GP week. You got to make sure to tune in on Saturday and Sunday for the GP here on the channel. And don't forget that the chats during the GPs are locked to members only. The GP itself will be 100% watchable without being a member. You can watch it for sure. But if you want to chat with us and keep me company while I go insane trying to commentate a whole event by myself, you got to be in the chat, which means you got to be a member. So consider clicking that join button to support us there. Otherwise, we'll see you later this week. So until next time, this is myself, DMO73. I've been joined as always by Mike Rance,
Paul's voice comes from his mama.
Paul Reisman,
Mike's voice comes from his papa.
and hopefully for a long time coming, Lance Maverick.
Yeah, the VTuber and the Force of Will thing.
Yeah, we love it. And until next time,
Yeah.
class dismissed. Have a good night,
I love
everybody.
anime.